and can come from nothing and can create itself?
Sure.
Sure?
Sure.
Okay, let's start with the universe create itself. Okay. Can a mom give birth to herself? Can the universe create itself?
No, it cannot.
Okay, then let's pass to the second one.
Okay.
The universe comes from nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever thought about any example for something come from nothing? Can a 0 plus 0 plus limited of 0 give 1?
So you're obviously of the opinion that the universe has a creator, and I would like to hear your opinion, your argument.
Okay. We believe that the creator is one. He's not a man, he's not a woman. Yeah? He's not black, he's not white. Anything you imagine in your head, that is not the creator. The creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call him Allah.
Thank you.
You can start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just run you through a thought experiment, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to learn and listen. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
no, excellent. Because it was interesting. I just wanted to see where you guys are kind of coming from. So the thought experiment, I think is very interesting because even if you look at these philosophers like Descartes, they love doing thought experiments. They love thinking of the different options. So yeah, let's just throw some cards in the air and let's see where they land. So would you describe yourselves as agnostic?
Me, yes. Yeah.
Yourself?
I'm a full devout, alhamdulillah, Muslim.
Oh, mashallah. Okay, excellent. So I guess I don't need.
You don't need me.
Yeah, I don't need to try the answers on you. Okay.
But it's very interesting, right? Because I will check you in terms of
Go for it.
No. It's not necessarily because I consider myself. I wouldn't call it a liberal Muslim at all, or any way, shape, or form to be kind of outside the box of the general Islamic beliefs. I consider myself as a very, very devout Muslim. I read the Quran, pray 5 times a day, do my Ramadan, all aspects of things. There are certain things, again, not agree is the right term, but again, update is also not the right term. I think, unfortunately, in this generation of free speech, human beliefs, I think people are misinterpreting certain aspects of the Quran and taking it literally. For example, let's just use this. Excuse me. I know we need to get to the lady, but let's just say, for example, Ramadan, right? If you travel more than, do you know the number, and then you have to break fast?
In terms of if you're a traveller, yeah, that varies, isn't it? Some say that you're a traveller when you leave. If you're in London, when you leave the M25, you're pretty much a traveller then.
So it depends. It ranges between 32 kilometers to 80 kilometers. Usually, some fatwas say that it's generally your city, and if your city is around an 8-kilometer radius, you're like, I don't know. So if you really look back at where that came from, back in 1,400 years ago, they were on camels. The sun was 3 times probably this hot. They were going through desert, crossing cities, trying to get to places. And you know what happens? It's hard and people need to take water. And you know what? During Ramadan, if you have to do that, it's okay to break your fast and drink water.
So we can discuss that. I think what we're doing is we're talking on level 5. We're assuming, that God has already been proven, Islam is already accepted, we're already fasting, and then
But I just want to let you know that.
No, definitely, that would be really interesting.
I can go to the M5 and go to Manchester, right? I don't necessarily need to break my fast. I don't think I should.
Yeah, we can discuss that, inshallah. We can discuss that. Yeah. All right. So you describe yourself as agnostic. In terms of your, sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I said.
Okay, yeah.
It's not something, honestly, that takes a whole lot of my thought. I never find myself questioning my beliefs. I don't even really have beliefs. I'm just happy to go about my everyday and be a good person. And
that's good. That's excellent. Yeah, I think it's good that is the default for a lot of people, because I think that's a lot of what we're lacking. So if a lot of people do think like that, even if they don't believe in a God, at least they're not harming society, isn't it? So yeah, I see where you're coming from. So where would you say you get your morals from?
probably fact that I've grown up in a Christian society, there are some societal norms and things that inevitably would have come from Christianity. But I do think that for all the fighting that goes on in the world, so many religions are so similar. The main rules that you live by day are similar, and it's kind of just to...
You said fighting, and I can detect the Irish accent. Are you Irish? Yeah. I think you guys have seen a lot, unfortunately and sadly. And
well, me not personally, but yeah.
I mean the Irish people as a country, yeah. So what you said was you get your morality from your Christian values that you were grown up with, but what about now? Because you've discarded Christianity as a theology, so where would you say you get your morality from now?
Good question. Again, I wouldn't even say discard it. I'm not a practicing Christian. I grew up in a Christian country, and I guess that my morality comes from... I can be corrected on this, but I believe there's a kind of a golden rule that's common between all the religions, and it's like do unto your neighbour what you'd like to be done to yourself or whatever. I've said that really badly, but
okay.
Just too generally.
So you're saying you still so what you're saying is you get your morality from the common denominator of the faiths, yeah? So you see what's common, and that's where you get your morality from. Do you say you get your morality from liberalism as well, or do you rely more on...
Correctly, yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, is it liberalism and religions, or is it... So I'm just looking at the ratio here. Would you say more with regards to religions, or would you say more with regards to liberalism?
Probably more with regards to liberalism, to an extent. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great.
I'm not going to say I'm out here extreme leftist, I'm not, but liberals, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so going back to the thought experiment, now that I know where you are roughly on the board, okay, so would you say if we take everything apart, yeah, and we say, look, I'm going to be as skeptical as I absolutely can. There's one thing that you have to accept, and correct me if I'm wrong, and that is that you exist. Yeah? You exist. Would you say I exist as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So at the bare minimum, you say that there is existence. Yeah? And secondly, would you say that the universe is uniform, regular, and stable? And what I mean by this, that the universe is uniform, regular, stable, is, for example, let's just say I hold my watch out, yeah, and I ask you, how comes this watch is not exploding haphazardly and randomly? What would your answer be to tell me why is this not randomly exploding or floating away or just disappearing? You know how they say in quantum physics, isn't it? That something can just disappear and something can start floating away.
So I would have to disagree. So here I'm going to check you up. So the universe is not stable and the universe is not uniform. What was the first thing that you said about the universe?
Uniform, regular, and stable.
So it's not any of them.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Yeah, because I haven't finished the point yet. Okay. Yeah. So the point is.
Really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Great. So if this is not exploding, if this is not randomly just disappearing, you have to assume. For us to, because if you're saying it's not uniform, regular, stable, you have to assume that there is enough stability in the universe that you are able to reach home without cars randomly floating, without trees randomly floating. You can't do science. Yeah, exactly. So you won't be able to do science at all. You can't live your daily life.
There are some principles that you just have to accept that they are the way they are.
Exactly. And what philosophers say, it's the fact for us to do science, for us to even live our life, the bare minimum that you have to accept is the uniformity, regularity and stability of nature. Because if that was not the case, life is impossible. So you agree with this point, yeah? Okay, so what I'm doing is called a logical syllogism. Yeah, so if I say, sorry, what's your name? Jennifer. So if I say anyone wearing green loves broccoli, Jennifer's wearing green, therefore Jennifer loves broccoli. Yeah, so this is the logical syllogism. So I've said number one, we've acknowledged that there is existence. Number two, we've acknowledged that there is regularity, uniformity, and stability in nature. Therefore, there needs to be an existence that explains this uniformity, regularity, and stability of nature. Would you agree with that?
Depends what you mean exactly by an existence.
An existence. Yeah, so you defined that at the beginning, where you acknowledge that you exist and that there is existence. Yeah? So for that was in premise number one, where you say, I exist. You also acknowledge my existence and there is existence around you. And then you're acknowledging that there is some stability. Yeah? Otherwise, I mean, we can't go an hour without... There's going to be, breaking news happens every hour. There's going to be breaking news every minute. Yeah, Big Ben has disappeared. Oh, it's on top of the Statue of Liberty. It's on top of that, the flame thing. So it's going to be crazy. So because there's existence, there's uniformity, regularity, and stability of nature, which is acknowledged by philosophers and scientists, because life becomes ridiculous when you can't accept that there's some form of stability. Therefore, there is an existence that explains that. Okay, great. Now, we have to deal with that existence. So we acknowledge that there is an existence that explains that. What do you think that existence could be?
And this is where I personally run into trouble, because it's not something that I spend my time thinking about,
No problem.
Yeah.
If that's not something that you spend time thinking upon, we can do that now, no problem. So be as wild, but try to be as rational and as honest as possible. And again, I'm not leading you, I'm not forcing you anywhere. Just whatever comes to your mind, whatever kind of comes to you, feel free to just say that, and then we'll just go on from there. No problem. So, with regards to... I hope they're okay. Okay, no problem. Hope that passes okay. Okay, so that existence. Oh, that was loud.
I went, you know Tara, the American? She fell down the stairs. You hear? Yeah, she broke her.
Okay, great. So let's just say I have a glass of water. Yeah. Can you say logically I can create, say, a watch, or I can create a sandwich or your chain from that glass of water?
No, not without other things, no.
So you're saying in order to make something, you need to have those qualities to begin with. Do you agree with that? Okay, great. Would you accept that in your observation of what's around you, there is consciousness, there's awareness of our existence, there is will? Yeah, I mean, you're willing. I mean, all you can do is in the middle of that sentence, you can say, I'm bored of him. Turn your back and just wander off. Yeah? So you have will. He has will. He disagreed with me earlier. So that, again, that's a choice. That's a will. That's a decision-making process. So we agree there's consciousness. We agree there's will. Yeah? And then we agree there is power. Yeah? I'm flexing his muscles a little bit.
I'm not.
I see that. So there's consciousness, there's will, and there's power. So this existence, because there is consciousness, there's will, there's power, it makes sense for that existence to also have consciousness, will, and power. Make sense so far? Okay, great. So we know that there is an existence, it has these attributes, and I'm going to focus more on the power bit. Yeah, because here's what's interesting now. Why do we not randomly see things with power coming into existence and not coming into existence? And this existence itself, what's to stop it from coming into existence and not coming into existence? Yeah, so if you look, there cannot be, I'm going to get a bit technical here, feel free to stop me whenever, there cannot be an infinite regress of powers, just like there cannot be an infinite regress of dependent things. Yeah, I'm going to break the second one down. Dependency. So I rely on something else. Yeah, that something else relies on something else, and then it goes ad infinitum. Yeah. However, my argument is you cannot have an infinite regress of these things, because if you have an infinite regress, that means one thing on another on another. Yeah, it has to end somewhere, isn't it? And we say, and philosophers also agree as well, that we are dependent. There has to be a necessary being. Yeah, that's the end of that chain. Yes, the end of that chain, the necessary being. And then we've now acknowledged that that necessary being has consciousness, has will and power, and there's nothing that came before it. So that necessary being has to be one, has to be independent, has to have consciousness, has to have will. Now I'm going to break will down a bit, because you might be thinking you just give me a long list of things, but bear in mind you've agreed on these things. So will is, if we're saying that the necessary being or existence is eternal, then he's created or he's formed existences that had a beginning. Like you had a beginning, isn't it? Yeah, you had a beginning, your muscles had a beginning. Yeah, all of this had a beginning. So logically it makes sense that someone that's infinite creating something in time that's finite, that's also an evidence of will. Yeah, so I'm just reinforcing the argument. So we acknowledge that there is, and as Muslims, that's what we believe. Yeah, our pH test for God is Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say He is the one. Allahu samad, the everlasting and eternal. He does not beget, nor is He begotten. I.e., He doesn't give birth Himself, and nor is He given birth to, and there is no one like Him. Yeah, just 3-4 lines. You'll find this towards the end of the Quran. This is our pH test for God. Yeah, so as a Muslim, this fulfills our criteria for God. Yeah.
That's much like the apostles of the Nicene Creed in Christianity.
So the Nicene.
In one God, Father, the Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth. Seen and unseen, or sorry, it's not all coming to me, but
no, that's a good
like
point.
That,
yeah, the Nicene Creed came at a time where, before the Nicene Creed, the Christians did believe in monotheism, one God. But the Nicene Creed changed it into a triune God, into the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So here's where they will struggle with this form of argumentation, because I'm able to say that there is a necessary being and a necessary existence. For them, they would have to say necessary existences, because there's 3. So just like they said Jesus died on the cross, they would say it wasn't Jesus is actually God. So God also died on the cross. So if God is dead on the cross, who's maintaining and sustaining the universe? Then it becomes a bit different. That's when they will eventually say, look, this is we can't imagine this thing, we can't understand it. But we as Muslims, we would say that this is creed. This is something that a child's supposed to understand. Somebody like yourself, everybody is supposed to understand. If this is the way of life for creation, surely this should be something that's palatable by creation as well, isn't it? You can't just tell somebody, oh, there is heaven and hell, so you don't understand this? No problem, you're not supposed to understand it. It's too wishy-washy. So as Muslims, our creed is very simple. Yeah, the creed is, we testify there's none worthy of worship besides God, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his messenger. Yeah, and then in parentheses, the final messenger. Very simple. You can explain that to a child, you can explain that to a toddler, you can explain to an adult, to an OAP. Yeah, and that's how religion should be. So far, would you accept that what you've heard are the arguments pertaining to a creator, that they sound logical and reasonable to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're working now on a premise that there is a existence. That existence has certain qualities, and those qualities make sense that it is the creator. Great.
Sorry, I just need to take the time, 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm not being rude.
No, go for it. Yeah. So now we have a creator. Now, Jennifer, would you think that somebody who's created us would be detached from us, or would you think that there would be some effort being made from the creator? Which of those two would you say makes more sense? The latter, isn't it? Okay, so now I'm gonna steal something from you, which is the principle that you gave at the start, which was, okay, I take my morality from something that's common in all faiths. So let's look at something that's common in all faiths. every single faith claims that there is a holy book. Every single faith claims that there is some form of messenger. Do you agree with that? So that makes sense now, isn't it? That, okay, so every single faith from different times, they are saying, okay, we do have a book and there is some form of messenger. So now that's the second criteria. How do we decide which book is correct? How do we decide which prophet? Now, I'm gonna take wherever this discussion goes, I'm gonna take it wherever you lead me now. Now, you're gonna be my leader, yeah? So, in terms of the book, Jennifer, what criteria would you say a book needs to have for you to say, you know what, this one seems like, from all the others, this one seems like it's from God? So just give me random criteria that's coming to your head. If you get stuck, I can help you out, but initially... So let's say a Christian presents you the Bible, Hindu presents the Vedas, and Muslim comes along, gives you the Quran, and then say, Jennifer, pick. Yeah, you know how they do on Blind Date? Yeah, I don't know if you remember the old show with Cilla Black, where there would be where there would be like a barrier, and there would be a person, and there would be three people on the other side, and the person would ask all three the questions. So I guess what I'm saying is very similar. What sort of questions would you say? Does this book have this? Does that book have that?
I'll tell you what he's leading to, and I hope you don't mind it. So what he's leading to is that... So,
I need to run really soon.
I know, we badly have an airport, and I love this, but...
No problem. Oh, that's awesome. Where are you guys going?
We're back to Ireland.
Oh, that's amazing.
We only came
How long
here
do I
for
have?
this. I think you only have about 15 minutes max.
15.
Minus 15 minutes, but go on.
What he's leading you at is, for example, if you bring in all the books, right?
Can I just jump in because we've got 10 minutes? Yeah? Because you guys are going to be together anyway,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
I'll transfer the information.
Excellent, excellent.
Really
Okay,
enjoying this. Like,
excellent. I love
And
it.
I really want to commend the fact that, again, devout Muslim, 100%, but I love the way that you're not in any way, shape or form, you're truly representing, and I really appreciate that, you're truly representing the true values of Islam. You're not trying to change anyone's culture, you're not trying to change anyone's point of view. All you're trying to do is just have an honest, truthful discussion, and I really appreciate that. There's absolutely no projection from you whatsoever. And again, this comes from a very devout Muslim, so I know exactly
Thank you, I appreciate
what paths
that.
you're taking. I really love it.
Thank you.
Keep that.
it's been
Yeah?
really enjoyable.
Oh, excellent.
Finish off the
Yeah, no, excellent.
12 minutes that we have.
Okay,
We
excellent.
don't even have time.
No problem. I'll take 8 minutes.
Summarize it.
Yeah, I'll take 8 minutes, no problem. Because I know sometimes, you know, in your mind, you know, in Islam, even when a person's praying, like we're allowed to cut our prayer short because God knows that, okay, this person's traveling, his mind's going to be, or her mind's going to be all over the place. So, okay, so we're dealing with messages and we're dealing with books now. So with regards to the books, the main thing that you, rationally, you would arrive to is this book is the same as it was when it was revealed. Yeah? Yeah, if it's been changed, if the people that follow the book can't even acknowledge and take on board that, yes, this book is the same book that was at the time of the Prophet, then, I mean, why should I accept it? Because it's been changed. And yes,
I really liked your point. Sorry to interrupt you. I really
No,
liked
go
your
for
point about it being accessible and understandable to the followers of the faith.
Yeah, 100%. Because look, yeah, if God is saying that, look, this is for everybody, and the consequences and the punishment for not following is so severe, then I'm sorry, that has to be the criteria. Has to be accessible. Yeah, I can't teach a primary school student, you know, university knowledge. It's just not accessible. But I can teach addition to everybody. Like one, that's two. Okay, great. So coming back to the book, you have to accept that, okay, the book is the same, yeah, as it was when it was revealed. And ironically speaking, Islam and Muslims are the only one that make this claim, that the Quran is the same and it hasn't been changed. Now, this is something that will be accessible to you as well. Anytime you got a Bible and a Quran, just open it up. Yeah, you look at the Bible. Yeah, you'll open it up, and then you can see the preface. And in the preface, they will say, "Oh, there are minor and major mistakes in here." Yeah, so this is admitted in the preface of the Bible. Yeah, again, that's Old Testament and New Testament. You can pick it up. You could even compare the King James Version with the New International Version. So you can take two versions. Yeah. However, with the Quran, there's nothing like that. Yeah. The Quran doesn't say, "Oh, there's mistakes in it. There's this in it. There's that in it." Yeah. Same with the Vedas. Yeah. The Vedas don't make this claim either. that, oh, our book is exactly the same as it was. Yeah. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's very nice. You have a beard. You're going to go and pray. It's easy for you to say that. But I can give you an objective way that you can test this. Yeah. We have the oldest fragment. Yeah. There's a fragment of the Quran which is dated all the way to the time of the Prophet, and that fragment is not in Saudi Arabia. It's not in Iran. It's not in Iraq. It's not in Afghanistan. It's actually in this country, and it's in the University of Birmingham. So the oldest fragment of the Quran is in a non-Muslim country, collected, carbon dated by non-Muslims. And if you are like, when you're in the airport and you're just sitting and you're saying, I forgot everything he said, but I do remember one point he said, which was the oldest manuscript of the Quran. Let me Google this and let me see what comes up. You're going to see most likely a BBC article talking about the oldest manuscript, and it's going to say University of Birmingham. You cannot do that with Jesus. You cannot do that with the Bible. You can't do that with the Old Testament. You can't do that with the Vedas. Yeah. However, now when you look into the Quran, how has it been preserved? Because the next thing you're going to say is, that was back in the days. They used to write stuff down. And I remember in primary school when we would have to copy stuff down for display purposes, and then use those lines in the back and write it. Sometimes if two lines end with the same word, our eyes would skip a line. And sometimes if I write something down and I introduce a mistake, he copies something down, he'll copy my mistake, he'll make a mistake, and then he'll give the manuscript to you, you'll introduce your own mistake, and then over time, so many mistakes will come in. Yeah, and this way of missing words and missing lines because of two words being the same, they're actually called homoutiliton and parablepsis. Yeah, these you can actually find these of critiques of script writers. Yeah, you can just check these. The reason why I'm giving you these terms is because this will probably be online. So when you rewatch it, you can check everything that I've said. Yeah, I'm not gonna. This is not something that won't be able to continue afterwards. So Quran, you might be thinking, okay, but the Quran was copied as well, isn't it? No. Out of all the holy books, Quran is the only one that is memorized cover to cover. You might be thinking, okay, I'm impressed, but I'm not too impressed because maybe you need to do that mind palace that Sherlock Holmes does and you have to really work on it. No. We have kids as young as 6 that have memorized the Quran, and approximately, according to one study, 11 million people on this planet have memorized the Quran. Christians. I've been here for a long time. I put stuff online. Not a single Christian has come and said, we found you one Christian that has memorized the Bible. Not one Hindu's come and said, somebody has memorized the Vedas. Or not one Sikh that comes and says, somebody has memorized the Guru Granth Sahib. Not a single one. So, even if some errors have been introduced to the manuscript, somebody who's memorized it will be able to tell you this is incorrect. For example, I'm going to try this on him now, yeah? Now this, a regular individual that you know, but he'll be able to correct me now. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ
الله الصمد
لَمْ يُلِدْ
ولم يولد
لَمْ يُلِدْ.
ولم يولد
Is it لَمْ يُلِدْ or لَمْ يُلَدْ?
لم يولد
لَمْ
يولد
قُلْ هُوَ.
لم يلد ولم يكن له كفوا.
There you go. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ.
لم يلد ولم يولد.
Yeah. Allahu Samad.
لم يلد
لَمْ يَلِدْ.
ولم يولد.
I was able to correct him, he was able to correct me. These are the verses that I quoted at the start, that this is the pH test for God. He is one, He's everlasting, eternal, does not beget, nor is he begotten. And we were able to just bounce off each other. I was able to correct him, he was able to correct me. Can't do that with regards to the Bible. Can't do that with regards to the Vedas. So this is that. The third thing and final thing I'm going to leave you with is the Prophet. Yeah, you got all these people making claims. There's one book, you can grab it before you go. It's called Forbidden Prophecies. Yeah, you've got people, the Mayans, the 2012, they said the world was going to end, the I Ching, the Chinese, and then you've got, the Scientologists and all these guys. Notice their prophecies. And then notice when the Prophet Muhammad makes a prophecy. His prophecy is specific, and it's time-bound, and it can be checked by non-Muslim sources. For example, at the time of the Prophet, the Byzantines were losing against the Persians. However, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, no problem. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, within 9 years, the Byzantines will beat the Persians. Now, at that time, they were losing. There was a plague. They were being attacked by the plague. They didn't have the artillery. They were in problems. However, within 9 years, they did beat the Persians. And this can be verified by a non-Muslim at that time, whose transcript we have is called the Chronicles of Theophanes. Yeah, you can Google that. Again, you can check the video later on. Chronicles of Theophanes, or Theophanes, however you pronounce it. So this, again, is non-Muslim. So it's not just within the Islamic tradition. And the final thing that I'm going to leave you with is not even the cracking of the moon. It's how we preserve the sayings of the Prophet through the chains of narration. I can give you something the Prophet said, and I can tell you who narrated from the Prophet, who narrated from him, and who narrated from him. And there's a narration of the Prophet that he said, don't kill women and children. Yeah. So the Prophet narrated this, and Abdullah bin Umar heard it from the Prophet. Nafi heard it from Abdullah bin Umar. Imam Malik heard it from Nafi, and then we can pick it up from their book. I'm conscious you have to go. Yeah. So I'm just gonna. The reason why I just wanted to give you a few things. So when you watch this video, then you'll be able to check each individual thing that I said. No. So this is gonna be on Sam Dawah. Yeah, Sam Dawah, and just check Sam Dawah. Yeah, Sam Dawah, and there's gonna be others. There's Dawah to Soul and SF but Sam Dawah will be easy to remember. Yeah, check it out,
brother. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Food for thought.
What are you doing? Yeah. Okay.
Food for
Thank
thought.
you so much.
My pleasure. Have a very safe journey. Take care, inshallah.
I was interested.
Yeah. Nice.
You were.
Are you Muslim?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to remember. There's a channel. I know. Not Sam Dawah. There's another one. It's Smile to Jannah.
Come on.
Is that you? No,
Come on. You know it's gotta be me, isn't it?
Yeah. As-salam.
Come on.
I remember that.
Wait, you're non-Muslim and you still know Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a religion in Nigeria is practiced differently here. Growing up in Nigeria, well, the part I grew up, the Christians and the Muslims, they mix a lot.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
That's
so-
what I love about Nigeria.
Yeah, they had like the masjid, football. We play football nearby Rosen. You have to like go in there, sit down, you watch them learn the Quran.
Nice. What's your name?
Osas.
Osas.
Osas, yeah.
Osas.
Osas.
Oh wow. What an amazing name. Osas. It is a strong name.
It's short for Osaboyan.
Wow. Osaboyan.
Means God has the final say,
Osaboyan.
or God is a judge. That's what it
Osaboyan, you have spoken the truth. So that's amazing. So you're saying that there's a lot of kind of mixing and stuff. You have family that's Muslim?
means. Yeah, distant cousins.
Wow.
I read up on religion because I do this thing where, since becoming non-religious, I try to understand other people's ideas and